This is a hard topic. When game magazines were a thing, this bloke wearing a white hood on the very first page looked cool enough for a 10-year-old boy to force his mom to buy the first chapter of the series. Assassin's Creed 1 was outstanding. Then the second chapter introduced a legendary character that took his righteous place in the gaming pantheon, Ezio Auditore. I mean, even today when we play online with strangers, they talk about Ezio Auditore as soon as they understand we're Italian, alongside pizza, pasta, panettone. We fell in love with the second chapter. I mean, just listen to the score. But as soon as Brotherhood came out, we felt the brand to be hardly improving on its deeper limits, and failing to innovate in a meaningful way. We left.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
For a long time, cause chapter after chapter, we didn't feel compelled to come back. Main story abandoned, unappealing settings, or even copied from the trending topic. A deep sense of alienation broke our bond with the series. Nowadays, Assassin's Creed is just a traveling agency.
Norway and Sweden and Iceland and Finland, yeah, Italy, Turkey and Greece.
Now Shadows is set in Japan, and so confirmation of this trend. But this time, we bought it day one. I guess everybody knows Ubisoft is losing tons of money.
I'm only burning my half.
This release could save the company or doom it. As we know, they even postponed launch by 6 months or so. It can't be bad, can it? Well, we ain't enjoying the game much. We still find platforming and movement clunky. Scripting and characters aren't particularly brilliant. And no, Ubisoft, I don't want to pay extras.
Greed is right. Greed works.
What really disappoints us is fighting. So, what makes for a good fighting system? Good movesets, good AI, wide choice of actions, RPG elements. We spent some time playing various games trying to find it out, and we think it's readability, richness, and personality. This is a personal interpretation, but try and follow us. In a combat system based on melee, readability is key. The player needs to understand what's going to happen to react accordingly. Every combat system is kind of like chess. You're attacked from the enemy and you make a choice. Dodging, parrying, blocking, counterattack with a fast blow. You understand the situation and prepare a proper response. That's the core of any game of any kind. Actually, in melee combat this is crucial, because the enemy is so close. But it's not important for defense only, but for offense too. You do something expecting a certain response stemming from common sense or knowledge of the enemy. If I'm stabbing you in the face, I don't expect you to keep doing your business. If I hit you on the shoulders with a sword, I don't expect you to teleport to block the attack. Usually, a good readability is mostly obtained through animation. Anticipation is particularly important for readability. This is a strong blow. You see, it's crystal clear. Animating a slash with the katana is not just a blow with a stick of iron. It's a way to communicate with the player. Then you find these moments of very normal human behavior. Yeah, do your business, buddy. Don't mind me. It doesn't interact with the player. It's not clearly stated when you should or shouldn't stop attacking. Honestly, sometimes it's embarrassing. Usually, in these situations, it's at least use the technique known as animation blending. Yes, now comes the nerdy line of the script. The animation blending fuses two different animations, or the main animation, with a physically driven one, to tell just one thing to the player. Hit landed. But there's more. Would you expect someone to be able to coordinate a move while being slain with a katana? That's a common problem with this game. Maybe they approach the animations with a cinematographic look in mind, but animations seem to almost never blend, and maybe they chipped out on something? Don't mind me! And can we talk about how dissatisfying this game can be at times? Also, these flashes. Why did they use them? We think because animations aren't readable enough. Take the Ronin. These two movesets are almost identical. Would you ever understand what can be blocked and what can't if they didn't use the flashes? To be honest, we even think the anticipation is too short with many attacks. Sadly, not making for a fun fight. We know this game has a premium on stealth. I mean, it's a game about assassins. You're not supposed to fight your way through everything. True, but when you fight, it should be entertaining. While we feel it to be clunky and unreadable, they could bind stealth tactics and fighting in a more integrated way. Something Dishonored mastered. And personally speaking, I would love that. Maybe if you can't manage pure combat properly, just cut it out from the project.
But also, fighting doesn't feel rich. You have the usual 3 attacks, plus the abilities that can only be triggered once in a while. A little underwhelming for a shinobi. Sure, that's the tech trees, but they're only marginal improvements and, moreover, quite late in the game. Assassin's Creed Shadows is a title born with consoles in mind. They can't bind 6 keys for fighting to expand on features, but another game could make the moves contextual. Attack after rolling gives you a fast strike, attacking after jumping gives a powerful blow, while here, attack after running or rolling just feels slow and useless. This should be run and hit, but it just looks like crap.
It's bad.
But it's not just the basic animations, it's the concept. Naoe is a shinobi. It's easy to differentiate her from Yasuke and enrich its gameplay. A shinobi can use martial arts to maybe disarm the enemy or break the stance. These are relatively unexplored and innovative concepts, but none of these things on site. But AIs are a problem too. Let's take the Ronin again. Can it be perceived as basic or rich? It's only got 2 almost identical movesets. 2! But the worst is that you only have one way to fight it. It locks the game. It's not challenging, it's just boring. AIs should challenge you to explore the whole game loop. In fact, they did try to differentiate. Some require parry, such as the Ronin, some dodging, some... well, don't even know. A game developer should nudge the player to explore new possibilities. Instead, they created this stiff gameplay where you're just required to obey and play their way. It really doesn't feel rich. It feels very Ubisoft. Also, that parry, just not satisfying. Parrying is a matter of good timing and rewarding the players. You've been good, the game must prize it. That's the reason everybody's doing it that way. It's not just timing, it's mostly the price that follows. While here you just stab the guy freely. Fine, I guess. An Assassin's game with no critical hit. Japan was a marvelous setting. Martial arts, ninjutsu, samurais, it's rich by itself. And I mean, assassins, shinobis. But every enemy here feels flat. And Naoe,
What a clever, charming girl you are.
well, being a shinobi is something more than this. Oops, wrong clip. But what do we mean with personality? Personality! What comes to your mind looking at this? Leave his armor, and you'll still understand that he's not a simple grunt. Its moves says loud and clear he's a capable, well-trained soldier, self-confident. Now look how imposing he moves, how aggressive he slashes. Animations and movesets define the personality of the AI. Shadows tried something on this regard. The small guys are fast and the big guys are strong. We think that's too little, because some ranked troops only have a pair of attacks, or are very similar to grunts, maybe adding a kunai throw, surely without enriching the personality of the character. In a game, you should never just scale up an enemy and call it a day.
Behold, a scaled-up version of the previous enemy.
That's a cheap choice to achieve variety. I quite hope they didn't think, hey, they're Japanese, surely they know martial arts and everybody is very capable.
What do you think you're doing?
That would be even a bit racist and useless.
Do you speak any English?
Appearance is sometimes a problem too. Who of these two guys is a skilled fighter and who is a random dude? But speaking of personality, the Ronin should be an ex-samurai, so a superb, refined soldier, an artist of war, not a pickier-based soldier. Well, then you find this jerk moving and attacking like a complete ass with slow-mo master-like moves. I mean, isn't he just a junkie? That's what we define lack of personality. And this can lead to a confused communication too. Don't misunderstand. We don't think this all is horrible or the worst game ever. In fact, it's just basic. But maybe they'll give us the rest of the fun with the season pass at only $120. It seems as if the enemies, the characters, rely on describing who they are rather than conveying. You do feel in Japan looking at the villages and settlements through those admittedly jaw-dropping graphics, but we feel they just describe Japan. Well, they literally
Well, figure it.
describe the whole tea ceremony. That's philosophically interesting, but this is a game that takes ages to do anything. We think gameplay comes first. We can hardly be satisfied with a game where you play 5 minutes in the first hour, where they spent a huge amount of resources to set up cinematic events for useless NPC dialogues while leaving us a basic and descriptive fighting system. To us, Ubisoft needs to think less of marketing, of mimicking settings and cultural cliches, of proposing bundles and skins, while focusing more on making more enticing gaming systems and better AIs. Because in the end, you look at movies for cinematics, you play games to play. Now, dear Ubisoft, you dragged these problems for years without learning or listening to feedbacks. So, we have just one question for you.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?